We are diving deep today, folks, into the California wildfires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Specifically, the Palisades fire. You've sent over some really hard-hitting stuff.
Yeah.
News articles, personal accounts, the whole 9 yards.
It's been pretty devastating.
Our mission, if you will, is to kind of cut through the noise and really extract the most impactful insights.
Absolutely.
We're talking about a fire here that has already scorched, are you ready for this? Over 22,000 acres.
Wow.
Tragically claimed at least 16 lives, and the number is expected to rise.
Right.
It's left a trail of destruction. Some are comparing it to a war zone.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
Where do we even begin?
Well, I think it's important to understand that the Palisades fire is really just one piece of a larger
Right.
grim puzzle, We're witnessing, actually, a cluster of blazes that are just ravaging the LA area.
Oh, wow.
And collectively, they've burned a massive 38,000 acres.
38,000 acres, yeah.
That's larger than many cities, I imagine.
Absolutely. To put in perspective,
Right, just the scope is hard to even fathom. Yeah.
But I think, beyond just the immediate devastation,
Right.
what kind of long-term consequences are we looking at here?
Well, the economic fallout alone is just enormous.
Yeah.
Estimates range from $135 billion to $150 billion in losses. Billion, yeah.
Wow.
And this is going to hit industries like tourism and agriculture particularly hard,
Of course. Yeah.
with potential ripple effects across the entire state's economy, really, for years to come.
Absolutely.
But, I think beyond the numbers, we have to remember the human cost, right?
Right.
The trauma, the displacement, the loss of livelihoods, those scars run deep.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
And speaking of displacement, over 153,000 residents are under mandatory evacuation orders,
That's right.
and another 166,000 are on high alert.
Right?
It's hard to imagine, honestly, the stress and uncertainty
Oh, absolutely.
that they're facing right now.
Yeah.
From your perspective, what are some of the biggest challenges in even managing an evacuation of this magnitude?
Logistically, it's a nightmare, honestly. Just ensuring that everyone has safe transportation, adequate shelter, access to essential supplies. It's
Yeah.
massive, massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And then, on top of all that, you've got the public health concerns, the toxic smoke from these fires. It poses such serious respiratory risks.
Oh, absolutely.
And we have to think about, how to better protect vulnerable populations, especially those with pre-existing conditions
Right.
during these events. It's a major concern.
Yeah, no question. And of course, there's well, I hate to even bring it up, but the ever-present concern about looting in the aftermath.
Yes, unfortunately.
Increased law enforcement presence, curfews. I mean, those are necessary measures,
Absolutely.
but they also just kind of add to that sense of unease and disruption.
For sure.
It's a multi-layered crisis.
It is.
And unfortunately, it's colliding head-on with California's, existing insurance crisis.
Exactly. Many homeowners were already struggling to obtain affordable insurance,
Right.
due to the high risk of wildfires in California. And now, with this disaster, we can expect to see insurers further tightening their belts.
Right.
Which will lead to even higher premiums or, and this is scary, outright denials of coverage.
Wow.
And this could leave so many families who've lost everything
Yeah.
in a truly desperate situation.
It's heartbreaking, honestly, to think about.
It is.
And it's hard not to notice this stark contrast
Right.
between those who were, struggling to even rebuild their lives.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, the reports of wealthy individuals hiring private firefighters
Oh, right.
at these exorbitant rates, sometimes up to $2,000 an hour.
It's kind of a microcosm of a broader issue, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
This inequality.
Yeah.
As climate change fuels more frequent and more intense wildfires, the question of access to safety becomes even more crucial,
Of course.
Can we as a society accept a system
Right.
where those with means can essentially just buy their way out of danger,
Yeah.
while others are left to rely on these overstretched public resources?
It's a deeply unsettling thought.
It is.
But thankfully, we are seeing incredible community response efforts.
Absolutely.
Local organizations, volunteers, they're providing shelter, food, all the essential support.
It's amazing.
And of course, President Biden's declaration of a major disaster will hopefully bring much-needed federal aid.
For sure.
What struck you in particular about the community response in this case?
What I find remarkable is the resilience,
Right.
And the selflessness on display. I mean, from neighbors helping neighbors evacuate to volunteers working around the clock
It's amazing.
just to provide comfort and aid.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder of the human capacity for compassion, I
Yeah,
think,
absolutely.
in the face of tragedy.
Well said. So far, we've talked about the scope of this disaster, the evacuation challenges,
Great.
the insurance crisis,
Hmm.
the inequality, which is highlighted by that whole private firefighter phenomenon.
Yes.
Let's shift gears a little bit now to the actual firefighting effort. What are some of the key strategies being employed right now to combat this blaze?
Well, firefighters are using a combination of ground and air resources.
Okay.
Ground crews are working tirelessly to create fire breaks and contain the spread, while aircraft are dropping water and fire retardant.
Got it.
However, they're facing some really formidable challenges,
Yeah.
particularly the infamous Santa Ana winds.
Oh, right.
These strong, dry winds, they just fan the flames
Yeah.
and make the fire extremely unpredictable
Of course.
and difficult to control.
Now, the Santa Ana wines, those are a recurring factor in California wildfires, right?
Yes, they are. They originate in the Great Basin and Mojave Desert,
Okay.
and they blow westward towards the Pacific Ocean.
Got it.
And they create these hot, dry conditions
Yeah.
that are just ripe for wildfires, unfortunately. And
Right.
their presence makes firefighting significantly more complex.
So we've got these incredible men and women out there risking their lives,
Yeah, absolutely.
battling this blaze under incredibly difficult conditions.
Excellent.
What can you tell us about the effectiveness of different firefighting techniques
Sure.
in a situation like this?
Well, the effectiveness really depends on a variety of factors, including the terrain, the wind conditions, and the intensity of the fire.
Yeah.
For example, studies have shown that airdrops of water and retardant,
Right.
they're most effective when used strategically to slow the fire's advance,
As you see.
which gives those ground crews time to build containment lines.
Right. Makes sense.
However, in extreme wind conditions like those we're seeing now, even the most sophisticated techniques
Yeah.
can have a limited impact.
It's a stark reminder that we're dealing with a force of nature here
We are.
that demands our utmost respect.
Absolutely.
As we start to wrap up here, if you had to pick one, the most important takeaway you want to leave our listener with?
I think this disaster underscores the urgent need for a multi-pronged approach to tackling this wildfire crisis.
Uh-huh.
That means smarter land management, stricter building codes in fire-prone areas, and most importantly, addressing the root cause,
Yeah.
which is climate change.
Climate change, of course.
We can't just react to these disasters. We need to proactively mitigate the risks.
Absolutely. A call to action for all of us, for sure.
It is.
This situation is still unfolding, so we urge you to stay informed through those official channels.
Please do.
And as you follow the news, consider this. In a world where climate-driven disasters are becoming more frequent,
Right.
what are our individual and collective responsibilities to ensure a more just and equitable response?
That's the goal.
Something to think about.
Absolutely.